Hey everyone, welcome to the Tuesday Night Principal Chiro broadcast sponsored by DE and Banda Brothers. Um, before we get to our speaker, January 12th to the 15th is our next DE, and December 9th is the last night that you can book your room. So under the block, so it's very, very important that you do it now. I don't. If hopefully you all saw the those video by Judson that basically what they're saying is we're going to have a regular DE. We're not going to break early on Saturday nights. We're going to have all the speakers. It's all about DE this time. It's not about the beach. Yes, but we're literally on the beach. So you can have plenty of time to go out and get to the beach if you want to get to the beach. I get that. But people need DE. I need DE. Everybody needs to get to DE, and DE needs you to come and bring a friend. So December 9th is the last night for the book, the block like I was talking about, but make sure you're reaching out. There are so many people right now who need DE, especially January DE, because everybody's setting their goals and wanting to make a bigger impact on their lives and their practices in the next year, 2023. So January 12th to 15th, let's all rock it down there. Now, tonight, we have a rising star in chiropractic. Alex Rubin's our speaker. I got to tell you about Alex. The past 3 or 4 DEs, I usually help with the first-time speaker or first-time DE attendees and the students and the meeting at the end of the night, Friday night. And Alex has been helping me, and it's just a great time because I ask people ask me questions that for me, it's been 35 years ago since I had these questions come up and I haven't done it. And Alex is new in practice. He started his own practice 3 years ago. So he's rocking it up in Philadelphia. And he brings us energy. So he remembers being a student just 4 years ago. And I remember him as a student, him and all those guys came to every DE. And unlike a lot of people, he's continued to come at every DE and bring it. And his practice is growing and flourishing. He spoke at the last DE. He's awesome. He's amazing. He's got this loving energy and certainty that every student and every doctor should have. And he walked out of school with this certainty. And I'm sure he had a lot of doubt, but the bottom line is he listened and applied the principles that he learned at DE, and it made his life better. So with no further ado, let's bring it on Alex Rubin.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction there, Andy. I really appreciate it. There was definitely some doubts as a student. I guess there always is in everyone's mind. But basically, I mean, everything that you said there in that couple minutes really is the work that you need to do. And that's back to sort of the first thing that I really want to talk about tonight, which is the basics. But before I start talking a little bit about some of the basics within what it is that we do and maybe some of the things that we can improve on in our personal lives, I want to start off with a gym convoyism. I know it's probably the first gym convoyism at DE, but it might not be the last. So just like a Dr. Sidism, Jim Conboy is my dad's boss, has been for 25 years, and he says a couple different things here and there that stick, and then my dad poured them into me. But one of the ones in particular that stuck out with me tonight is, first of all, I guess I should also preface that it's a meat company. They sell steak, seafood, poultry. And he goes, you want more money? Sell more meat. You've got unlimited earning potential. You want a raise? Give yourself a raise. And I think that some of that is very old school from him. I think he's, over 80 years old now at this point. He's still at the office every single day. He's still selling a ton of meat to people all over in the Northeast and throughout the country. And it's really that old school work ethic. And that's kind of the basics that I kind of wanted to talk about, a little bit, that I think sort of starting to get lost here and there, or it can be easy to slip, and we start to think that some things may be expected of us or not expected of us, or everybody gets the easy way of being able to do it. But really, I think that one of the keys to my success in practice now, which, it's always a process of learning, growing, shedding the husks, growing, learning. But some of the really strong fundamentals that came from, I'm going to say the meat business as a kid. And so you want more money, sell more meat. You've got a limited earning potential. You want more money, see more patients. You've got a limited earning potential, right? And you'll also change the lives of thousands and thousands of people at the same time, right? The other thing that I think that's kind of interesting about this is kind of people wanting to work the bare minimum on a lot of things these days, where there's articles here and there that are coming out where a lot of the current generation are going out there getting a 40-hour-a-week job, and as soon as they're asked to do 40 hours in 1 minute, they stop, they quit, they turn off their computer, they're done, right? And I think that that's something that needs to get lost a little bit when it comes to everything. I get the importance of being able to protect your own time and your personal time and your freedom. You want to go home, you want to see your family, you want to do these things, but that relentless work ethic is something that's really, really important, and you have to earn it. And I can't tell you which speaker it was that talked about it at one point in time or where it was, but they used to always talk about Dr. Sid saying it's 5 minutes before 7 or 5 minutes before 1 o'clock. So I say this to myself almost every single day whenever I'm at work. Sunday was a really good example. We were pretty busy in the morning. Yes, I work on Sundays. That's another component of it. I'm the only chiropractor in the entire city that is open on Sundays. If somebody needs to get a good adjustment, they're coming to see me. If they're coming to get a good adjustment on a Sunday, they're definitely coming to see me. And something about that is very, very interesting because Sunday, this has been a bit of an interesting week. My sister is off in the Virgin Islands. If you don't know my sister, she spoke during the Parade of Stars at the last D. But really, my office would not be anything like it is now if it wasn't for her. And it's funny because the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months, she's really been with me full time, 100% of the time. She's in the office all day long, doing a lot of the things. And I think before, when she was still, kind of mixed between mostly being in the office but sort of out of the office, things would come back and forth, and I would sort of start to forget about certain things. And then now she's totally gone, and I'm running the show by myself for, the next one more day. I guess after today, it's one more day. But Sunday we got totally slammed, and I worked 10 to 1 o'clock on Sunday. I believe I was there until 2 o'clock, 2:30, taking care of people because there's a new patient that comes in. You're not going to, I guess I could tell the new patient to come back, but I'm going to take care of the new patient that day when they come in. I'm going to keep taking care of my people as they keep coming in. As long as, I don't have a clock that I'm looking at. I don't wear a watch. The reason I don't wear a watch is because I don't want to be like, oh, it's 5 minutes until, my shift's over. I want my shift to keep going on. I want to keep seeing people. I want to keep taking care of them. Why would I think about that? So that's just something I want to leave everybody with, and I want you to not forget that. But don't forget that it's always 5 minutes before you close. And if people call and they're saying they're going to be a couple minutes late, I'm not saying the guy that's calling you 25. Can you say 25 minutes after you close, Doc, every single Wednesday? But, if people call you once in a while and they say, hey, I'm running a little bit late, can you hang out for a couple extra minutes? No problem, right? Do what you got to do. Take care of the people. The people take that to heart. They really love that. And that's the other one of the big things I wanted to talk about is the basics. Is like really just got to love on people. You need to love on people hard in your office, and not just by delivering a beautiful adjustment, but caring about them, connecting to them as people, as individuals. And as a chiropractor, as a principal chiropractor, as a doctor, yes, it is our role to educate. Yes, it is our role to be able to, speak with confidence and tell them what it is. But these people also need to know that you're there for them and that you love them. And I think the relationships that you'll end up building over, years and years in your practice, the people that you've been with. I mean, for me at this point, I've had people that I've been taking care of for well over 3 years. And it's amazing to see that they've literally been with me from the beginning. And they're really your power base. They're the ones that are going to keep telling everybody else that's new, that moves into the neighborhood, their new neighbor moves in, somebody rents down the street, they bump into somebody at the supermarket. That individual that you've built this fundamental relationship with is going to be one of your greatest assets in terms of growing and continuing to grow your practice and maintaining and protecting the reputation of it. They're going to be one of your greatest advocates. And don't forget to take care of your people, not just with the adjustment, but also really take care of these people. And The other part about getting back to the basics was the thing that Andy had talked about sort of at the beginning during the introduction, but it was showing up to DE. Why do we need to show up to DE? Because we have to shed the husks, because we have to grow, because we have to get redipped, because we have to stay connected. We need to have the community, right? There's lots of other aspects that are involved with this. This is not something that, you can do like, yeah, you can walk in and rah, and we can get filled up with this energy. But then if you walk back in Tuesday morning and you're in the same spot that you were, for the last 30 years, then you haven't had the opportunity to grow. You haven't really taken it to heart. And sometimes these things start to slip and they start to move and they start to get lost in whether it's your actions or whether it's in your day-to-day life or whether it's in your practice itself and the words that it is that you're speaking. But keep showing up to D. Keep coming back. Andy again said it. As students, I've been coming since second quarter. So it was, 3.5 years of DE before I even finished school, right? Which is crazy. And now it's been another 4 years of DE. So it's almost been 7 years already, right? What adds to the confidence? You keep showing up, you hear the same message, the same thing, it works. There are friends that did the same thing and started businesses at the same time as you that are doing the same thing and doing the same steps. It's also working for them. Keep doing it. Trust the process. I promise you, especially you new docs, that you guys can make anything happen. Or your old docs that are building a new practice, I promise you that it is going to be okay. But keep showing up to DE. I don't care if it costs you, half of what you're making that month. Show up to DE and do it. I promise you, you will be rewarded so much more in the long run. And some of the other basics, right? Aside from being a humble, loving servant, being a principled chiropractor, right? What is it that we do? We adjust the spine. We check this. Well, I guess we adjust the spine. We check the spine and adjust when necessary, right? These are the basics. This is what we do. We don't need to be necessarily, I don't have anything wrong with nutritional products. I don't have anything wrong with these other things. But once you start mixing and throwing all these other things in, people are going to start getting lost in what it is that you do, right? You know how many people have come in and they've told me that they've seen another chiropractor in the past, or they've seen a chiropractor 6 months ago, and you move a bone and all of a sudden their eyes light up and you see what happens because they've never actually been checked. This guy was putting in the spinal collator machine, right? He was attaching the TENS unit that they can buy off of Amazon for $11. The thing that we really, really need to be doing is delivering a beautiful adjustment to our people, connecting with them, loving on them, and we will see the results. We will see the changes in their lives, and it's going to manifest tenfold over what it is that you'd like. Other than that, one of the other big things that Andy also talked about earlier is the certainty, right? You come out of school with a little bit of certainty on the principle, or a lot of certainty on the principle, but again, now you've got the uncertainty about the application of the principle, or the application about how you're going to incorporate it into your practice and what you're going to make happen. But really, with everything that it is that you do, especially you'll notice yourself when it comes to a time with a very difficult patient. A really good example that I had was there was this gentleman that came in, young man, little over 30 years old. He was lost at sea. So for 22 hours, he got lost in the Pacific Ocean, and he was floating around, and he was found 1 day later, and by the grace of God, he was still alive, right? So now he's got a lot of very strong emotional stuff that's happening. He's nonverbal. Even though he's all there, he's not communicating. And his mom and dad brought him into my office to get him checked. And, it's a madhouse on a Tuesday night, and there's 30 people in there, and I'm adjusting all of them, and I'm trying to fit this extra new patient in, and we're working to make it all happen. And when it comes down to it, this individual, he almost got up to leave, but then he sat back down because he saw how I was communicating with the other people that were on the table before him, and that's one of the other perks about having an open adjusting space is that your communication, and I'm told this all the time by my patients, your communication to one person is your communication to everybody in your office. So if your office is full, you're not only educating the one person on the table, but you're educating everybody else that's in there. It is a great benefit for that. It's very, very helpful. But this individual was hesitant to get adjusted at the in the first place, and then he ended up sitting back down. And really at that point, you have to just place your hand on the shoulder and have a conversation, like a serious conversation. You need to come from a place of love, come from in here, come from the heart, certainty, positivity, the outlook that that he's going to be better, that this is something that they absolutely need to have happen at this point in time, that this is going to be the turning point in their lives and returning back to the life that they've had and the life that they've lost and getting back to where they want to be. the chiropractic care is so fundamental for that. You really need to be able to speak with that certainty, because if you've got any hesitancy, people will sniff it out immediately. They will smell it immediately. When you go over the paperwork with your patients, if there's something that's not congruent with you, they will see it. And they're going to see it in your eyes. They're going to see it in your energy. They're going to see it in your mannerisms, okay? So stay congruent. Be confident in what it is that you say, and really do what it is that you need to do when you need to do it. Recognize it. One of the other big things about getting back to the basics, and just in general, I think with sales, because even though we're in chiropractic, we're not in sales, it's still sales. When you're there with people, it's still part of it. But one of the big things that you need to know is that you need to be able to read people, read your audience. You know, some people, this was Brian Lieberman that told me this as well, and sometimes my energy can obviously be a little bit high, but if somebody's got a higher energy, you got to be able to match their energy. If somebody's got a lower energy, you got to be able to lower it down a little bit and be able to get on their level and be able to connect and understand where they're coming from and listen. Something else we all really need to work on, including myself, all the time. Listen more, talk less. I might dive into that a little bit later on, but it's a lifelong process. But people want to know that you care about them. They want you to hear their story. They want to hear what's going on. And after you're able to give these words, after you're able to deliver the goods, after you're able to give this adjustment, and you see, the switch turn back on, you see them start to get their lives back and see everything flow. There's nothing quite like it. And being congruent is a large part of that. And then the other thing I want to talk about that in terms of the basics is kind of there's a lot of chiropractors, I feel like, that maybe are great and amazing in their office, but they've got really crappy home lives. And I want to just reiterate that please focus on your home life as well. It's okay if you have to step back and take an extra half day off the office. Do it, because you need to spend time with your family. You need to make sure that everything is good at home. Make sure you've got a good relationship with your kids. Make sure you've got a good relationship with your parents. Make sure you're doing the right things. Do not be a schmuck outside of the office and be so spot on and amazing in the office, okay? Just make sure you're congruent and try and live this lifestyle all the time. Don't go telling your patients to get adjusted every week if you're not getting adjusted every week. It's not congruent. They're going to know. You can't lie to them like that. You need to tell them, how often are you getting adjusted, doc? I get checked at least once a week. Most weeks I still get checked twice. Why do you get checked twice, doc? Well, it's really comes back to the same things. We got chemical, physical, and emotional stresses in life that are affecting our bodies. How is our body going to adapt to it? What is the best thing? Well, who do you get checked by, doc? Well, you got to get checked by this person. If anything ever happens to me, that's the guy you go see, because he's the one that checks me, and he's the one that'll take the best care of you if I wasn't here. I promise. Okay? So just make sure we bring that back in. And then another big thing that sort of stuck out to me when I was browsing back through my Meadowlands book from the last, it was a couple DAs ago. I usually get a brand new one every D, and I start to reread through it and start highlighting and underlining things all over again. But there was a line that I had highlighted or underlined in the book, and had the page marked with my pen, and it was, "We build ships for a profit if we can, for a loss if we must, but we always build good ships," right? So I know this one's been talked about a few times, but the big thing about this, and this is a big thing that I've really been working on incorporating into my, consultation with my patients, is that in my office, we never put profits over people, okay? I don't care if you're making $100 million a year. I don't care if you're making $5 a year. Obviously, we're going to make enough money to be able to feed our families, because God is good, and the more that we give out, the more that's going to come back, okay? But we always put people over profits. If not, you need to check yourself. You need to go back and figure out what it is that's going wrong in your head and get that thing cleared out, because people are going to smell it. You might make a ton of money, but you're going to burn yourself out, and you're probably going to build yourself a pretty crappy life, okay? It's not about the money. It's about the people. Chiropractic has never been about the money. It's been about the people. Dr. Sid talks about it in the Meadowlands. The same thing. You want to make more money? You want to sell more meat? You make more money. Sell more chiropractic, make more money. See 500 a week, make $1 million a year. It's that simple. It's an easy formula, okay? I'm not saying that your care has to be cheap. Make it affordable so everybody can do it. Take care of more people, but do it the right way. Take care of people, and if they can't afford it, take care of them anyway, because it's the right thing to do, because this world needs more people getting checked and more people getting clear, okay? The next thing that I really wanted to chat about tonight is taking a vacation, because I just turned 31 years old, and I just took myself a vacation for my birthday, just before Thanksgiving. And I go back to this little thing that this I believe I talked about it on my last time I was doing the Tuesday night call, actually. But there's this rabbi's podcast that I like to listen to, and in one of these podcasts, the rabbi started talking about vacations and work, and basically he talked about how most people in this life work 51 weeks a year in order to take a 1 week vacation. It's great, right? Where could that 1 week take you? Key West, Maine, maybe go skiing, Mexico, right? All these places are great. The thing is that we need to change our mindset on how this is done, because we all know what Dr. Sid says: work is fun, I love to work. Work is fun, I love to work. Work is fun, I love to work, right? So if work is fun and you love to work, why are you taking this vacation? Why are you working for the vacation? It doesn't make sense. It's not congruent. We need to change the way that we're thinking about this information, okay? So the way that the rabbi talked about it is that energetically, we should be taking a vacation to recharge ourselves for the work, right? Why did you take a vacation? To get recharged, to re-dip yourself, to go back to the office that Monday morning when you return and kick ass, to take care of a lot of people, because it's the right thing to do, because you love chiropractic and you want to take care of a lot of people, right? So this is what you do. You take the vacation, you get recharged, you fill yourself back up, you reload your cup, so that way you can then give your cup back to the people in the office when you get back. And I can tell you that aside from the fact that if you want to see yourself busy, take a vacation, come back, and you're going to have a larger number of volume the following days when you come back, and probably the days before you leave. Okay, so if you can see those people on those days, that means you can see more people on other days, because there's more time that's built into it. You'll find a way to take care of the extra people that are coming in either before or after you leave for your trip, but make sure when you come back, you're ready to give back and pour everything that you've learned, that you've re-energized and reinvigorated yourself with, and give it back to your people, because they're all going to be curious, and because they love you as much as you love them. And that's a very important principle. It's just the principle of love in general when we're pouring into our people. Okay? Please do not forget that. One of the other big things that I was thinking I wanted to talk about here tonight was making sure that we're controlling our thoughts, just in general, with things that are happening in life and little situations that pop up. And honestly, this morning was a pretty good example for me. I went to the vet with my dad and my good friend, and we were going to take my dog to get checked. He, scratched his eye. It's been watering and stuff for a couple of days. He's had some gunk in it. So we're like, okay, we'll take him to the vet and, see what they have to say. I get to the vet's office, and you pull up, and you're walking your dog, and you walk in the front door, and they're like, oh, I know that this is the suburbs, but we're still doing COVID protocols here in this office space. We're still doing COVID protocols. Okay, so what are the COVID protocols that are involved? Oh, well, you have to go back to your car. You need to wait in your car, and you need to take your dog that's now soaking wet because you just walked through the rain to get here, take him back to the car, and we're going to come meet you in the car, and then take your dog by himself into the back room so we can do what we want to your dog without you seeing it. But really, it's because we don't want to have confrontation or have any conversation with you, because we're worried about the 3 people in this office, even though you're seeing 300 a week in your office face to face. Great, right, perfect. Makes a ton of sense, right? So you get back in the car, and I'm all frustrated. I'm like, I'm going to leave these people a bad Google review. Leave them a bad Google review, and I love Google reviews too, but I don't want to be the guy that only leaves good reviews and only leaves bad reviews. But it really rubbed me the wrong way when I wasn't able to go in there with my dog, and you start to see your dad getting kind of emotional because he freaking loves this dog to death, and all he cares about is making sure that the dog is not going to lose an eye and everything like that. So you go back in, get back in the car, they come over, the lady's actually pretty nice and sweet, and she takes our dog, and even though he's all sad, he doesn't want to leave the car, he goes with this lady into the thing, and then the doctor calls us up, and he's like, oh yeah, this is what we're going to do. Do you want this shot, and this shot? And you're like, no, I don't want these things. He doesn't need those things. I want you to check his eye and tell me what's going on. Oh, okay. Well, we have to do this test to find out that the dog needs eye drops in it. Perfect. Let's get the eye drops. We'll put them in the dog's eye for a week, and the dog is going to be better. Sounds wonderful. Does he need a cone? He does not need a cone. That's great. But afterwards, dog gets out. He's totally healthy. He's totally happy. He's doing great. Dad's doing a lot better now that the dog has seen the vet, and everybody, was telling him how horrible of a dog father. He was being by not taking the dog sooner because he was trusting the innate intelligence of this animal to let the body heal itself, which the body was healing itself. It probably would have still healed itself if it would have given it a little bit more time, but it's doing great. So his dog's got these eye drops and he's doing good. And the biggest thing about that is my very first statement, which is controlling your thoughts, right? My mind immediately went into COVID protocols. Oh my God, I'm not allowed to be in here. I can't be with my dog. Yes, that's heart-wrenching. It's sad, but you need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to deal with these things. And what's the proper situation, the proper way to deal with it? If you go to dinner at a restaurant and you're at dinner at this restaurant and all of a sudden you've got a reservation and the reservation sticks you outside and it's a cold day, are you going to make the best of it in the situation? Are you going to leave the restaurant? You're going to not leave the restaurant. You're going to sit down and try and do what you can to be able to really enjoy yourself, right? We need to be able to adapt in our day-to-day life, especially when there's certain things that are happening that we don't have control over. Yes, I've got control over finding another vet going forward. Yes, there's an opportunity to find another restaurant going forward, but things like the rain, right? You know how many people will tell you, I hate Mondays, or I just hate the rain. Well, guess what? If you hate Mondays, you're going to literally hate 50 days a year, right? 1/6 of your year, every year, 1/6 of your life before you die, you are going to hate just because you don't like Mondays. So why don't you just change how you're talking to yourself? Why don't you change that inner voice? I love Mondays. Monday is my favorite day of the week. It's the absolute best, right? Which it is, because you get to go back into the office and you get to start taking care of people again. It's great. Monday is an awesome day. But there's a lot of people that are affected by this. And a good example was today, because here in Philadelphia, it rained literally all day long. It's rained from 8 o'clock this morning until still raining right now, right? And I always tell my patients that one of my favorite things is the days when it rains in my office, because I'll be in the office and I'll have, I don't know, whatever, I had Latin music on or whatever it was. People are coming in. My mindset's that I'm, at the beach with a chiropractic table adjusting and taking care of my people. It doesn't matter to me whether it's 20 degrees and freezing cold outside. It doesn't matter whether there's snow on the ground. What matters is that I'm still in the office, still with the right mindset, still it's 5 minutes before I close at 7 o'clock, and I'm still ready to take care of my people as long as they come in. Send me all the people that I can serve today, and anybody that I can help in any way that I can help serve them, okay? And, I understand as well that, everybody has a bad day, and it's okay to have a bad day, right? But just keep in mind that there's some things that you don't have an opportunity to change. You can't change the weather. You cannot change the day of the week. There's plenty of other things that you cannot change. So learn how to adapt and make the best of the situation and have a positive mindset and a positive outcome from that. I think that is a really, really big thing. And again, I can think back to vacations and everything else. I've spent $500 for a single night on a hotel room. I've spent $5 on a hostel bunk, which was just as fun, right? And I can have just as much fun in either situation. And the big thing is the people that you're with, your mindset going into it, and what are you doing to make happen. And I think that the other thing that's really cool about this concept of adaptation is that's kind of what we do in chiropractic, right? When we adjust the spine, when we input a force, we help move the bone into the proper position, right? Reboot the nervous system and allow the body to better adapt to the stresses from life that are coming from the outside and trying to affect the inside, right? But the body is very adaptable. It's all about adaptation. So if the body is going to constantly be able to adapt, whether it's the bones are adapting or whether the nervous system is adapting, you need to make sure you keep your mindset adapting to these things as well, so that way you can function and live your life at its absolute fullest all the time, okay? Because don't forget, for every action that you take and every thought that you put out there, there's an equal and opposite reaction. There's an equal and opposite force that's going to be coming back. And we really want to make sure that we're putting more good out and we're creating more positivity and more positive reactions elsewhere in our lives instead of attracting this negative cycle over and over and over again, okay? I promise you that things could always be worse. Take it as a blessing when things go a little bit poorly, but they're still good, okay? It doesn't matter if your car gets hit because there wasn't a person in the car when the car got hit, okay? Think about it differently. I really encourage you all to do that. It will be very, very helpful in your lives. Other than that, the big thing that I tell patients, go get adjusted when it's raining. Well, not only just to change their mindset, oh, it's raining, but also that's a great day to come get adjusted because it might be a little bit slower if it's raining because a lot of people, at least in my neighborhood, walk. They're not driving. So, those days when they come in and it's raining and I see a little bit less people, I get to have a little bit more conversation with them. And it's also really, really good because it comes back to the basics. Connect with your people, love on your people, talk with your people. And they know that when it's slow, I can spend 5 minutes and have a conversation with them. They know that when there's a line of 30 people, that I've got a minute and a half to deliver this adjustment, and I love the heck out of them, even though I might not be able to, spend this 5 minutes with them. But if they come in when it's raining and it's a little bit slow, I would love to be able to have this conversation with them for a couple of minutes and really make sure that, I catch up with them and everything that they're doing in their lives because I care about them. They've been a part of my life for years, months, days, and many of them will be part of my life for days, months, years to come. So make the best of that situation. Okay. That also goes back to something that Dr. Serge once said, which is that the subluxation is a priority, right? He told us this story one time. He drove his daughter all the way up to college, and he dropped her off, and he forgot to adjust her. And then when he drove all the way back home, he finally remembered that he forgot to adjust her, so he drove all the way back to school, adjusted her, and then drove back home again because the subluxation was the priority. So whether it's raining, whether it's a Monday, whether whatever else it is, just make sure you're instilling that the subluxation is a priority to your people and make sure they come in and make sure they get themselves checked and taken care of. You're going to change their lives. Other than that, another situation just about adapting, which is something I meant to mention earlier because Dr. Andy's the one that does the introductions with everything, but I always think about that story, especially when I'm dealing with my firefighters. But Dr. Andy told a story one time about how he had a firefighter that he had checked, and he had been checking for a little while, and then the firefighter's out, and there's this crazy, event that goes on, and the firefighter's like behind a car, and there's this building in flames, and he thinks to himself for a second, and he says, "What would Dr. Andy do? What would Dr. Andy do right now?" And that's what it is. Make sure you train people, teach people that, they need to be able to adapt, that when you're, keeping them connected, when they're coming in for this adjustment, you're helping them do what they need to do to be able to make things happen that they need to make happen. Okay. And I'm going longer than I planned on talking tonight. I'm probably talking too much. So I think that I'm going to talk about one more thing, which is, maybe two more things while I'm on the call, but they'll be short. 2 days ago, I had a conversation with Brian Lieberman, and one of the big things that he told me was that I need to work on being more quiet, right? That I need to talk less, which is something that was really valuable to take. And, I remember even the next day he had sent me a text message, and, after our conversation, he was apologizing. Maybe it was a little bit too rough, but, it's not something that offends me, right? Like constructive criticism. He's one of my mentors. Why would I ever think that they're trying to, belittle you, right? They're trying to teach you. They're trying to help you be more successful. And Dr. Brian says, talk less. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of difficult for me because I really enjoy talking, but I'm going to work on trying to talk less. So best opportunity was the next day when I got home from DE that Sunday. Got home, and that Monday was the busiest day. So I had almost zero chance to be able to talk to people, and I used that as an opportunity to be able to grow. So talk less, especially during the new patient consultations, your conversations with them passing by, but especially when you've got that fire beneath your ass and you got a waiting room full of people, you got to be able to talk a little bit less, shut the brain off with that, and get people on the table and get them checked and get them clear, because that's really the priority. Something else that I thought was funny about that, well, there was actually two things that I thought were funny about Brian telling me to talk less. The first one was that I had my brand new copy of the Meadowlands. Meadowlands, right? Everybody should read this multiple times, every time. And in the Meadowlands, in the beginning, Dr. Sid also talks about taking a trip to Atlantic City, right? And having that feeling of walking on the beach with that special someone, and having that as your mindset when you're, delivering the goods, when you're delivering that adjustment. And it was funny because I actually left that DE early to take a flight home to go to my aunt's 83rd birthday party and a gender reveal party for my cousin, and then one of my other cousin's birthday parties, all in one weekend in Atlantic City. And I was hit that point of the book, and I was thinking about talking less and all this other stuff. So then I was walking on the boardwalk later on in Atlantic City, and I got this fortune from Zoltar. I don't know if you guys ever know Zoltar. If you ever saw one of these machines, if you're in the Northeast, you probably did. But Zoltar is this little fortune machine, and Brian Lieberman is basically Zoltar when it comes down to it. But he said, my fortune told me that a wise old owl sat on an oak tree. The more that he sat, the less that he spoke. The less that he spoke, the more that he heard. Why can't you be like that wise old bird? And it says, yes, my friend, your greatest fault is that you talk too much. Learn to keep a secret. However, your other golden qualities make up for your talkativeness. So this was something that was just very interesting to me, and it really hit home. And once you start to see how the universe is all connected, you start to get it that Brian was telling me that because that was a message I was supposed to hear that weekend, right? I probably heard it a couple times that weekend and, might have overlooked it or might have missed it. But Brian made sure that I had that message heard, and then Zoltar also made sure that I had that message heard. And after that, I utilized that to, try and constantly work on making myself get a little bit more quiet and get myself back to still taking care of my people and growing and focusing in on the work. Stop getting distracted by the chatter within my mind. And I just think that the very last thing I want to talk about is something that Andy also briefly mentioned, but it's almost New Year's, guys. It's goal setting, right? Where are we at for the year? It's December. This is the last month of the final quarter of 2022. It's been a heck of a year. It's been awesome. Finally, mostly out of the COVID BS. I'm sure all of our practices are growing massively. I'm sure we're taking care of a ton of people. And I just want to say that I hope you guys all make time, if not before the end of the year, at the beginning of next year, in the first few weeks, take some time for yourself with a yellow legal pad or a white legal pad or whatever, a legal pad of paper, and start writing down your goals, right? Write down what it is that you want to be able to make happen and what you want to be able to do in this next year to come. And we can talk about things such as weekly goals. We can talk about monthly goals, quarterly goals. The big thing that myself and my buddies have always done, the same buddies that, went to chiropractic school with, my best friends, my mastermind group, these guys, we do quarterly goals. And the reason that we like to do quarterly goals is because we went to chiropractic school for 3.5 years. And what do you do in chiropractic school? You've got the quarter system. You've got a quarter system of exams. So if you stick with it, you've already been doing it for 4 years. You've already trained your body to do it. Stick with it. Keep the process going. So we do every 3 months we've got goals. Every 6 months we've got goals. And then we've got our yearly goals by the end. And then the other big thing that I like to talk about with this too is that make sure your goals are way bigger than you can imagine, right? Make your goals massive, okay? I was going back through looking at totals for the year of where we're at, gross collections to date and some other things, just a couple of other little statistics and where they were at for the years to come. And obviously we've exceeded where we were the last couple of years, and everything has grown massively. And I said to my sister one day before she left for a trip, as we were going over a couple of these numbers, that, oh, maybe we should go for this number the following year. And she's like, that number? She's like, I think we need to go double that at least. And the reason for that is because she gets it. She gets that you need to go, if you want something big to happen, you need to make something massive happen, you need to just create some changes. You need to start writing it down. You need to put it on paper. Once it's on paper, it's more likely to occur. I promise. Whether it's now, whether it's 5 years from now, but Grant Cardone always talked about this as well. If you set your goals up here, right, and you're currently here, and your other goals would have been here, you're still more likely to come up higher than your original goals were because you made your number so much higher of where you wanted it to be, okay? So aim incredibly high so that way you can still make what you have happen. And also, while you guys are thinking about your goals, just a couple of things that I really want to make mention of that are super important with it are make sure you've got an accountability group when you've got your goals written. I mean, obviously, whether it's your spouse or your partner, whether it's your mastermind group, whether it's your friends, make sure you've got some people that are calling you up and checking in on you every once in a while, making sure that you're doing the right thing to be able to make the right thing happen and be able to help you achieve those goals. Because you can write down everything that you want, but without action, it is never going to come into fruition, okay? So thoughts, goals, actions, right? Very, very important. And the other big thing that we need to talk about with that too is where is it that you're writing your goals? Are you going in writing your goals while you're subluxated? No, make sure you get yourself checked. Go get yourself adjusted. Get your atlas checked. Go to a sauna where there's no cell phone service and it's 1,000 degrees and you can't have your cell phone because it's going to overheat and you've got all this other stuff and you've got no cell phone service, and sit in this space and turn it off and disconnect for a minute and write down your goals and stay focused and tune into what it is that innate's trying to provide, what universal is trying to provide, what God is trying to provide, and connect in and write down what it is that you need to make happen in this year to come, because it's going to be very, very important for everything that it is that you're going to achieve in this upcoming year. And with that, the last thing I'm just going to leave you with is just a little goal-setting tip that Dr. Sid also had mentioned in the Meadowlands, which is that my definite major purpose is to build as big and as successful a business as I can possibly be built under the current circumstances and the situation right now in this very moment, okay? Again, as big and successful a business as can possibly be built under the current circumstances and situation in this very moment, okay? And then where can we go from there? All right. Other than that, I just want you guys all to know that I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening to me. I definitely talked more than I should have talked during this talk. It was twice as long as I'd planned, but I'm going to keep working on it. And that's the thing, is I'm going to keep shedding husk and moving on. But again, I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. And I can't wait to see you guys at DE in January. I booked my room today. Make sure you get them before this Friday when the rooms are no longer available. If not, also make sure you reach out to Kat sooner rather than later and get registered for DE. It's going to be awesome. Love and appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to see y'all soon. Thank you.
Hey, brother, thank you. I'm gonna break it down
Thank
in
you.
one thing: love. You
Love.
know, love yourself, love your people, love your family. Stay congruent. You can't compartmentalize everything, and then love yourself enough to take a vacation. Love yourself to set goals so you can love more people. And I think love's the answer. And so I appreciate you being on tonight, brother. I really
Thank
do
you, Andy.
appreciate you.
I
Hey,
appreciate you as well.
everybody! Next week is Peter Amlinger. So we haven't seen Peter in the flesh for 2 or 3 years, but he's going to be on our call this next Tuesday. So make sure you tune in to see Pete. Hopefully, he will be in the flesh at DE in Atlanta, or excuse me, in what's the
Clearwater.
name of town? Clearwater Beach. Clearwater Beach. So everybody, December 9th is the last time you can get ready or get your hotel block. Get registered early and bring a friend. Love and appreciate you all. Have a great one.